Hey everyone, we're back here at the 6.5 Summit. It's day two. I'm Daniel Newman, one of the hosts of the 6.5. We are in the SaaS Enterprise Software track. This next spotlight session features Scott Gnau with InterSystems. Scott, welcome for the first time to the 6.5 Summit.
Great to be here.
It's good to have you here. As you know, this show has over 40 of the world's most prolific tech companies, and we're always excited to have a diverse set of enterprises come talk to our audience. We're talking everything from, we always say, chips to SaaS. And this particular session is really interesting to me because InterSystems is a really exciting, fast growth company, rapidly growing towards $1 billion, but I would say not necessarily yet a household name. So I wanted to start there with you, Scott. Give me a little bit of the background about InterSystems. Tell me more about the company and what you guys focus on.
Well, interestingly enough, we're not a household name, but we're going to be. And we are celebrating our 45th year as a company, and we'll be going through $1 billion of revenue this year. And we really power some of the world's largest mission critical data centric applications. But we're kind of behind the scenes. So we work with a lot of partners who build applications using our platforms that enable them to deliver what they need to deliver to their clients. We have a lot of clients in the healthcare vertical, as well as in financial services, supply and logistics, and other industries as well. And all of those things have some commonality. They have diverse data sources that come from many different places, and that data needs to be integrated and connected for new kinds of breakthrough applications. And that's where we sit. That's what we do well.
Well, the $1 billion mark with a B is a big, big number. And obviously, that means that you have a lot of customers that are saying yes, that see value in what you're building. And I think that was sort of something you alluded to in your introduction. But the who you are, it sounds like you work closely with a lot of highly regulated. So you mentioned healthcare, you mentioned financial services. You also mentioned you work closely across supply chain, manufacturing, it sounds like. So another industry that has lots of complexity. Talk a little bit about, within this base of clients. And by the way, do you have others? And, what are the big problems that they're turning to InterSystems to solve?
Well, like I said, it's all about mission critical data centric kinds of applications. The things that we do well is we're able to integrate all different kinds of data at scale. So you think about healthcare, you have images and transactions and physician notes and voice notes, and pulling all of that together to get an integrated view of a patient is what we do well. Supply and logistics, similarly, and we're hearing about all these supply chain issues that are out there, right? There are operational systems that are managing different companies' supply chains, their ERP systems, and whatever, and they don't talk to each other. And one of the things that we do well is we can connect the data from different systems, pull that together for an integrated view where people can go optimize that supply chain. In financial services, we manage a lot of capital markets and trading platforms where not only can we do high volume, can't lose the transaction, you want to make sure that those trades go through, but at the same time, we can inline do analytics for our clients where they can make better pricing decisions, where they can make better risk-based decisions in real time.
So you connect all these different companies and all their different platforms, hence InterSystems, right? Um,
The way to think of it.
it's pretty straightforward. I got to ask you though, you mentioned this, and as a society, we can be kind of funny because for about a year, supply chain was everything. That was all we talked about. I did like 100 television appearances talking about the supply chain, chip shortages, devices. We can't get our stuff. Couldn't get cars. Couldn't get refrigerators. Couldn't get, pretty much anything. And at least it wasn't easy. Shelves were bare. People were worried about everything from, food insecurity because we couldn't get enough groceries and water places. So we had a pretty crazy period of time. I imagine for your business, though, this was a bit of an opportunistic moment to really come in and help companies sort through this, because I don't know that any solution really hit the shelves proverbially during this period of time that has really changed our long-term outlook. Did we just grow out of the supply chain issue, or is there stuff that you're doing, systems that you've built that can help companies manage through situations like that?
The issues are still there. And, I think one of the things that the pandemic showed is that it was, kind of a big shift in the way people bought their buying behaviors, the demand that was out there, and it strained a lot of systems while also many companies were having trouble getting employees, to come in and do their jobs and so on. So there were a lot of gaps, and it's really where the gaps showed up is where there was an interaction from one company to another, from one system to another, and those fissures were really exaggerated with the stresses that the pandemic brought. And one of the things that we do really well is we're able to connect different kinds of data, different kinds of systems together so that our clients can actually see across multiple systems, multiple supply chains, multiple suppliers, and make optimized decisions about how they're going to get their products to market more efficiently.
Yeah, it's very complicated, and as we know, different supply chains have different layers, and some have incredible complexity. And I think, for instance, that's why the semiconductor discussions were so deep, long, and difficult because we I don't think as a society people realized, first of all, between materials to final product, how many different supplies, parts, and providers played a role. And there's a big requirement, Scott, for systems that can help manage that. But then there were certain things like, that were just simply out of the control of everybody, like the demand spike. Now, you sort of alluded to the technology being able to take a lot of different systems and tie it together. And while I said like, hey, InterSystems, like, at the same time, you would say a lot of cloud providers, a lot of software providers, they'll all say that we can do this too. We can tie different systems together. So, there's lots of data platforms out there. No question that right now, data platforms are critical to these new AI technologies, next generation productivity tools. But talk a little bit about how your data platform is different than, kind of what's being largely marketed out there from everyone from hyperscalers to traditional ERP providers.
Yeah, you're right, and a lot of the news kind of sounds the same. I'd say the thing that's different. I've certainly been in this business for a very long time, probably more years than I'd like to admit. But the thing that's very differentiated about us is that we combine a couple of things together that are really critical to building out modern data fabrics. First, the way we store data is natively multi-model. What that means is we can take any kind of data, whether it's relational, whether it's documents, whether it's images, whether it's voice, and we can capture that data and store it natively, and we can guarantee that we'll give it back in the same fashion. Now, once we do that, of course, our secret sauce is we build some indexes inside and so on, so that we can, in a very highly performant way, give that data back or process that data for analytic content. Around that, we wrap a guaranteed synchronous in-memory layer, so performance is scalable based on how much memory you want to allocate. So it's multi-model, it's very fast. We have a native interoperability engine, so this is where we are able to integrate data from multiple different systems, different ERPs, different operational systems. And then finally, we are multilingual. So we speak SQL, we speak Python, we speak Java. So however you want to build your application, you can speak that native language to us, and we will perform and optimize that language for you. So the whole point is we do all of those things together where, a lot of data platforms will do one thing or another thing. The hyperscalers, you may have different microservices and you have to cobble six or seven of those services together to build your application. And that works and it's fine, but there's a whole data management layer behind the scenes if you're cobbling multiple solutions together where you as the application developer have to manage the data and make sure it doesn't get lost, make sure it's synchronized and so on. Since we're a single thing, we manage it for you. That makes us very reliable. That makes us able to remove latency from the operations that we perform because it's one copy of data, and we're able to manipulate that data and provide analytic content, multilingual content in memory, all in a single package. So it's a different way to look at things. Now, of course, we expose ourselves as microservices, as SaaS offers in the cloud, so people can consume our services just like they would consume anything else. But behind the scenes, we build it differently, and we build it more reliably, more scalably, and then, of course, we're very well known in the market for our high level of customer satisfaction. So we support these products end to end 7 by 24.
So I love it. 7 by 24, 24 by 7. So basically, though, you are a data layer that coexists with most of the well-known ERPs and different applications, and you become the data fabric. And in this era, the data fabric is going to, in my opinion, it's going to become one of the more critical um, cogs in the enterprise wheel. And here's why: is as we hear about everything, we're hearing about generative AI, for instance, and this is really like a buzzy, trendy thing. But the truth is that the ability to access all your data, structured, unstructured, um, and making it very visible to all of the application layers, internal, external, so customer layers, and of course, planning, resource planning layers, is going to become paramount. You cannot actually get the benefit of AI if you do not have your data exposed to these applications. Having your data fabric seamlessly do this is super critical. I guess for your company, how do you see your story evolving with this rapid onset of artificial intelligence? Um, you know, whether it's hype or reality, and I think it's more the latter, but we are in kind of the peak hype moment. How is that going to change the way InterSystem talks about its data fabric?
Well, I think, generative AI creates a lot of opportunities for everyone, right? And I think the big thing is it's a game changer and an enabler and will make other tools better. For us as a data fabric provider, I think we're part of that story because all of those models require clean, accurate, understandable data to go build out better answer sets. And that's actually what we provide. And when you think about kind of the value of data fabric, for many years we've had different kinds of architectural approaches to putting data together, whether it be data marts and data warehouses and data lakes. And all of those things were interesting tools along the way, but I think they all suffer from the same problem, and that is they became silos of information that were not able to easily be shared. And the key behind the data fabric is really about connectivity as opposed to consolidation. And with that connectivity and the provenance of the connectivity that a real data fabric creates, a couple of things happen. One certainly is you're able to see through the silos and understand data across different business units or even different enterprises to pull together those new white space applications. And certainly, it's that kind of connected data and broad data sets that really is fuel for generative AI and the models that are created from those technologies.
Yeah, I think you hit it on the head. That aligns pretty well with how I've been communicating it. I do think the enterprise data layer is the real business opportunity. And I've said for a long time, the sort of large language models that have been democratized on the public web, um, table stakes. Everybody's got them. Everyone's playing with them. In fact, the businesses, I still think, are still trying to figure out how to even make money off of them because it's disruptive. But what I'm saying is, once you start adding that ERP layer, that CRM layer, you start adding the all the ambient data, the edge data, the supply chain data. All of a sudden, it gets really interesting because you can start to know things and you can start really being more helpful, whether that's delivering next generation customer experiences or helping to reduce lag in your supply chain by being able to more quickly make a correction in a material shortage and rerouting you know a material buy, for instance.
And I think it really is kind of the next step of productivity, right? All of these high tech things that we've seen, whether it be the original ERPs or the emergence of the internet and big data and all those kinds of things. It really is how do we create more productivity, more efficient businesses, better prices, and generative AI is just the next opportunity in a higher degree of productivity.
Absolutely. So let's do a quick jaunt into the future. So you're on your way to surpassing $1 billion this year. Congrats again, big deal. How do you get to the next billion? What's the next few years look like for the company? How do you continue to innovate and win, and continue to grow at such an exciting rate?
Well, there are a couple of ways, but I think the biggest way is how we become more consumable as technologies. Because certainly, and I mentioned data marts and data warehouses and data lakes, and I was there for all of that, of course. There was a bit of a heavy lift in making those technologies work. And I think one of the things that we've learned from the rapid adoption of cloud and SaaS models is that microservices consumption is a way to really accelerate the delivery of technology. And I think we as an industry, and certainly we as a company, have a big opportunity to serve our clients by creating bundled services that are much easier to consume and embed in their everyday processes. So just like embedding generative AI it is a way to increase productivity, I think embedding ML models in applications to make smarter decisions is a way that will serve our clients. And there's a lot of demand out there for it. And we're certainly seeing an advanced growth rate based on that demand.
Well, I'm going to be closely watching here, Scott, and of course the industry will be too. I think this next wave of innovation is going to be happening with a lot of help from that data layer. Companies getting their data fabric and data platforms right will be a catalyst. And it's a haves and have nots. Companies that have done this well for a long period of time, well before this buzz of generative AI even picked up, have always had a meaningful advantage. And there's endless amounts of data from analysts like us to prove that. So, Scott, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to join us here at the 6.5 Summit. Really informative. Great to learn more about the InterSystems business, but more importantly, talking about how data fabrics and data platforms give market advantages to companies and the clients that you serve, and of course, other clients that you could. So, Scott, let's have you back sometime soon.
Thanks very much. Look forward to it.
All right, everybody, stick with us. It's day 2 here at the 6.5 Summit. We're in the SaaS Enterprise Software track. Check out all the videos that we have. The entire 6.5 Summit event is available on demand, but we love you tuning in live. Stay tuned. More soon.